Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. As we were talking yesterday, we're going to start working on a good old ogre here. We're going to make them all Nurgly. So I took a little bit of time before the stream just to get him prepped, so that way we can go. No sound. You can't hear me, Chuck? Can you hear me now? I feel like I'm in one of those commercials. Can you hear me, man? Hope so. Mike's picking me up at least. How about now?
Are you having issues?
Mm-hmm. Hey, thanks, Kat. At least somebody can hear me.
God damn it. Sorry. Just can't figure out what color these guys are.
It is. I don't know off the top of my head.
And I just compared them to every blue gray we have, and they don't match anyone.
Yeah, you had to call IT. One second, I gotta help Kendall find a color here quick. Might be rust gray. So this is on black. So give it a shot and see what it does. Okay. Dogs are good for that. Where was I? Totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, so we're playing with an ogre today here. We're going to make them all Nurgly and all fun-like. I already took some steps here just to save a little bit of time. I had a little extra time. They decided to let me out of work early today. Shocker. Probably had to do something with the, 100 hours. So I went and tried to get some of that flesh tone already built in just to help speed it up. What patch job you... Oh, down in there? Yeah. I mean, I could have made it a little bit better, but I'm going to make those look like, it'll go with the Nurgly feel. Alright, so now that I have that down, I got his flesh, but Nurgly is really sickly, you know, pus, nasty like. So I think I'm gonna go with like a green shade on some of these recesses just to bring in kind of like that sickly hue. So we're gonna give that a whirl and see what it does. I mean, worst case scenario, I can always go back, hit it with my airbrush, clean it up. No one will even know the difference. I'm going to grab some BLT Tan Green. We're going to see how this turns out. It's a little bit of test here. So let's go for the, you know, I want to be nice when I say it, but his under roll here. I'm trying to be nice. So I don't want it to pool too much. So I still want some of that flesh to show through. So I'm just using a little bit of water on my brush, kind of just wiping it back down. That way it's more where I want it and not anywhere else. Throw a little bit on this side here. We're just gonna do the same thing. We're gonna add a little bit of water. Just kind of help shape it where we want. Because, I mean, this dude's supposed to be nasty. I mean, who knows when the last time he took a shower was. A little bit down in here. I'm not going to go too crazy with that because I kind of want to see what it looks like when it dries. Because I might not like it. If I don't like it, well, then I don't want to do it to the whole model because then I'm just going to be wasting a bunch of time going back cleaning up. But I am going to do his butcher apron here. I'm going to do that white so that way I can go and make it really grimy looking. I got most of that already down earlier. So we're going to mix some shades together just to give it a little bit of tints here and there. Well, it's going to look weird at first. I'm going to use a few different colors of shade here and kind of blend them together so that way it kind of looks all dirty and grimy. Go grab my brown. Just kind of throwing it here and there. If I don't like it, I can always change the hue. I'm actually thinking I might throw a little bit of red in there too. Just to, you know, old blood, all that good stuff. I'm going to be a little bit more lenient on it. Maybe more towards the bottom. Spot of it right in here. And then we'll give that a second to dry so that way the actual colors start coming through. Because it just looks like a watercolor mess right now. It's funny. I thought that was a belly button there for a second. I was like, what? Alright. While that's doing that, I'm going to start getting these pants ready here. I'm going to go with like a brown toned pants. Just because then I can muck it up and everything. It's going to be a lot of dirty effects on this model. We'll start on the back here. It's easier to get to. Some good old Rhinox hide here. It's using it as kind of a foundation. So, you guys happy it's Friday? I'm happy it's Friday. I tell you what right here. Did not come soon enough. That's right. TGIF is right. I ain't doing anything special here. I'm just slapping paint around. Just throwing the paint. That dude's got a big old belly. You can see it down here. Got that nice dark Rhinox hide going. And then I'll probably bring that up with maybe some Doombull Brown or something like that. You know, actually start getting some shadows and everything else in there. Starting to get that slop all over is starting to dry the way I would like. We can start building off that here in a minute. This dude's got some frilly boots. I wonder if he's got some Uggs. That's right, I said it. You can hate me all you want. Get a little bit more Rhinox out. Try not to hit my camera here. Alright, let's see if we can start getting his, we'll call it his undercarriage. Just poke it in there, trying to get what I can. Kind of looks funny right now. We got our first layer of Doombull Brown down there. Let's check that front here. So as you can see, that nice clean apron is starting to look a little mucky. It's kind of what we were going for here. Still a little bit of glossy here and there, so we're going to let that dry for a second. I need to change the setting here quick. Alright. Let's get that nice little dirty robe going on there. I want to get this back of this pants and the pants built up just because that's such a big part of the model. So did I already get my Doom Bowl? I did not. Alright. Now let's start bringing that up a notch here. Alright, so we're going to start aiming, because I want to leave some of that Reinhawk shining through. But I also want to build it up. So what we're going to do is I'm going to aim for these ridges here, and then I'm going to start shaping around that. Good old butt cheek. See the dimensions starting to pop out a little bit. And I'm also trying to preserve some of the shape as well. And what I'm doing is anytime I find a crease or anything like that, I'm just going to make sure not to hit that, so that way it stays that Rhinox side, that darker brown. And then just build around them. There's like a little bit of a dent right here. Hey Swift, how you doing, man? Hope you're having a good Friday so far. Awesome, that's what I like to hear. Yeah? Good job, man. You see some of that dimension starting to come out a little bit. We'll work up through the colors here, and each time we'll go up a color, you'll see more and more detail pop out. Good. I'm glad you got that. With the straight lines we were talking about last time you were here. Awesome. So I take it that helped out. It's good. I'm glad that little trick there was useful for you. Awesome. Yeah, it took me a little bit to realize that when I was first learning to paint straight lines to do something like that. So I mean, I'd rather share the wealth than have people sit there and struggling and get all upset and, you know, either stop or, you know, just doubt themselves because they just didn't find a way to actually compensate, you know what I'm saying? Make life a little bit easier for themselves. Who would have thought I'd been spending this much time painting a giant ogre butt? Just starting to wrap around here a little bit in this inner leg. Trying my best to preserve the shape and the creases with that Rhinox brown, the darker brown here. And then those for you that are just joining us with this Doombolt brown, I really thinned it down. So it's more like a glaze. That way I can control the brightness of it. So basically the more I paint the layers, the brighter it's going to get. So that way I can kind of control where I want my light to be focusing on. Yep, you got it. Good old glazing. That way you can stay in control of it. And by keeping your paints super thin, you can basically paint as many layers as you want. I mean, you can literally spend hours doing this until you're happy with what you want. It's the same concept of like contrasting, you know, blending colors together. As long as you keep it thin and give it a little bit of time between each layer, you can mix, match, all kinds of stuff. Brighten, darken. Because, like, if you look right here, alright, you see where, like, this is brighter? Let's see if I can get a little bit closer. Right here across his cheek is a lot brighter. But then as you get towards the recesses, it goes to that darker brown and then comes right back up. And then at the same time, on the undertone here, like where I left the Rhinox hide alone, but I kept my paint thin, like on his inner leg here. So that way you can see as it's darker and then it gets a little bit lighter and a little bit lighter. And then what I can do here, once it's more noticeable, you know, in the eye view, my brain just died. You can even brighten it up, and that will stand out more, just like if the light was hitting it. I'm here for you, Swift. I got you, man. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is, I'm happy with that color. So then I'm going to do the same concept, but I'm going to even go up with this Tuscarora fur, but I'm going to thin it down, and I'm only going to place it where I want. If it gets too bright, then I can always come back with my Doom Bowl Brown and darken it back down a little bit and just kind of play with it. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is basically the same concept. I'm going to look for these high points, these ridges here. I'm just going to throw a little bit on there. I'm probably going to be a little bit more selective where I put this. So right now I'm just kind of aiming for all these high ridges. This will also give me a chance to kind of see how well it's going to actually blend together. That way if I need to change something, I'm not having to paint everything again. As you can see, like, that's starting to even bring out those ridges even more. But now I'm at that point where I'm kind of just picking and choosing where exactly I want to place them. Like, I want a little bit on this little overlap here. Lower my camera so you can see it, or my model. But at the same time, I'm going to start going underneath this arm here. So that's going to create a shadow, because I mean, he's got these big old beefy arms. So what I'm going to probably do here is I'm going to focus more towards the back of it, where the light would hit it, and start creating that shadow effect for the underarm. And the same thing on the other side. This guy's a lot taller. Hold on one second. Let me back this up here. There we go. If I can stand him up, you can actually see what I'm doing. Now, you see how, like, that's a little bit brighter on these and on these ridges compared to the rest of the plants? It's like that light that's hitting it. It's like that, it could be almost like frayed or a little bit more worn out, because when leather or anything like that gets worn out, so a lot of times it gets brighter in colors. And then actually what I can do if I really wanted to, once I get this done, is I could go and outline this with like a tan, just to really get that definition so you can see it nicely. So I'm going to use that same Tuscarora fur here, and we're going to try this here. I'm going to start doing a little bit of shaping. Possibly. Kind of hesitant at the moment. I kind of like where I'm at, but I kind of don't. Hey, leather can be fun, man. It's just all about what techniques you want to apply. I'll drop a little bit of it there. Looks like he's got another little crease right here. Kind of a little ridge mark there. Just going to start tracing out some of these bottom lines here. Something like that. Start adding a little bit of cracks, like that crack right there. We'll come back here in a little bit. A little bit of tan, you know, I'll do a little bit of feathering there so it'll actually look like it's frayed a bit. Now, if I really wanted to, I could use that Tuscan fur right on his butt cheeks here and like really brighten it up. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm not trying to draw all that attention to his butt. I'm not gonna do it because I got a lot of stuff that I want to do up here with, like, for Nurgling, pus, grime and all that, and I want that to be more of a focal point. Alright, looks like he's got like a metal stump leg here, so let's get that knocked out here quick. So what I'm going to do with that, since this is all Nurgling based, is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lay down my normal metals, but then I'm going to also go back and then I'm going to rust affect them, so that way they look all rusty, like, we'll just say all the pus and everything like that over time oxidized it, made it look like a big old rust heap. Paint's a little separated. Yeah, probably not. And there was a chance that the client who actually owns this model might have been in here tonight. If you see something you like, if you don't like, man, just let me know. I will change it on the fly. Because right now I'm just kind of winging it. Just picking something I like and going with it. Like, yeah, that's going to be way too clean and vibrant for something that's been touched by the good old glory of Nurgle. They don't call him the Great Unclean One for nothing. Now, I could have done this another way too and started with the rust effects, but like I said, I'm just kind of wheeling and dealing right now. Yeah, just to let you know, I did just got a commission for a squad of Death Corps coming in, hopefully here in the next couple weeks. I think it was like a squad from Forge World, if I remember right. Don't know. Guess it'll be a surprise when it gets here. I just know it's a squad of infantry. Alright, looks like we've got the base of that stump leg here going on here. So when I come back to this, I have actually some weathering powders, which are basically just pigments. That'll actually texture that as well, so that way we're going to actually make it look like actual corroded, rusted metal instead of just painted on. Is that a wrap, or is that his leg? I can't tell. Let me get that in a minute. Alright. So we got this boot here. You want to call it a boot? We're going to call it a boot. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down, give him his leather boot here. I'm going to use the same technique as I just did on the back of the pants. Just to tie it in a little bit. Of course, it's some weird angles here trying to get under everything. Yeah, I'm actually out of typhus corrosion right now. I need to get some more. Okay, looks like he's got a wrap, so we'll have to distinguish that later. But for right now, brown is going to be fine for that. As you can see, I'm kind of just slapping it on here. I mean, that's fine. I got my paint so much watered down, it's not going to matter. Just that way I don't have to break out more paint, just trying to get the consistency right. Alright. So he's got that heel there. Guess I could go for a whole metal armored boot look here. So I'll just throw down some more metallic. Do the deep reach here, you know, get it everything under everything. Alright, and then for that frill, that's what I'm going to call it here, I'm going to use, if I can find it. No, that's not it. Good old Xander dust. Just because it'll help tie it in with those browns. Browns and tans. Browns and tans. Not to mention, tans will actually work really well when I go back over this to give it that full Nurgling look. Kind of painting for most part kind of clean right now. But when I do like Nurgling stuff, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll make them clean and then I'll go back and then dirty them up. That way all of my foundation, everything else is there. Appreciate it. Appreciate stopping and saying hi, Swift. You have a good night, alright? Get some sleep. Alright, so now that we got that Xandry dust on here, once that dries, I'm going to come back over it with some Argrax, just to give it more definition. Alright, Chuck. It's fine. I'm actually going to take a 30-second break myself and use the bathroom. So, I will be right back myself. Alright, I'm back, guys. So we should have had ample time for that Argrax to dry on that frill around his boot right here. So we're going to go ahead and throw some Argrax on there so that way some of that definition pops back out. As you can see, it's already starting to come a little bit more to life there. Okay, over that, we're going to start working back on that boot again, getting that Doom Bowl brown in there, getting caught up with the back here. Just trying to keep busy. I'm going to do the same technique I did before, as I'm going to start with the higher points. That way I can preserve some of the shadows. Create a line and kind of just trace around here. That's going to be my boundary line. Get right up in here. Start focusing on those ridges. Same deal here. Welcome back.
Oh, that's me?
That's the Chuck.
Okay. It just was at the exact same time I got back downstairs.
Well, I mean, of course, welcome back to you, too.
Yeah, okay. We all know Chuck's more important.
Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and get this. We're going to call this a leather strap around here, but I'm going to lay this Doom Bowl on it, and I'm going to come right back over it with that Tuscan fur just to help change it up a little bit so that you can tell the difference in the surfaces. I'm just aiming for the sharp points here. And then we'll do the same thing on the top of the boot. To help give it a little bit more contrast, so that way it sticks out just a hair more so you can actually see what's going on with these details. right across the top of this ridge. Now the boot's starting to blend in with that leather look. You do have great timing, Chuck. Alright, since we decided to go with that tan for the frill, I'm actually going to use that for the cord that's actually holding his pants together. Poorly at that. Try to get the top angle here a little bit better, because that's what you're really going to see is the top down. And then I can also do this now that we got that Tuskar fur down. So some of these points on the model here, we can actually go, because it's aged leather, right? So I'm actually going to go and use a little bit of a corner brush and just start picking out some spots here, just to make it look like it was a little bit more worn. Mallet, you say? Oh, he did come with a mallet. Did you want the mallet? I mean, if you do, it's not that big of a deal. I can pop that arm off. I found my razor. Is that the mallet you were talking about? Yeah, if you said mallet, I apologize, man. Alright. If you change your mind, you let me know. I can get it on there. Like I said, it's not that big a deal. Alright. Just throwing down a little bit point highlighting here. Just where the edges are going to be a little bit more frayed. this line right here, what I'm going to do is add just a little bit to it. Looks like my tan is starting to die on me though. Start making it look like it's a little bit more frayed right there. Like it's been rubbed up against a bunch of times. Alright. So it looks like he's got a belt on in that big old gut of his. Looks like that's part of the strap right there. So while I got you on the stream here, buddy, do you want more clean metal or do you want more rusted metal? Got all these hooks and bones. Rusted metal? Okay, that's what I thought. Is it like severely rusted? Like where there's barely any metal left? I should probably paint that wrap under his arm first. Okay. While we figure that out, let's start working on these big old tusks he's got. Okay, that works too, man. I mean, we can do either way. It doesn't bother me. I just figure if he's in an army, I want to try to match him up as best as possible for you. That way he looks like he belongs. Not some Nurgly outcast. We got this skull right here. Technically, I do not need to use Xandra Dust. I mean, this skin color that I airbrushed with is pretty close. I could have just built off of that, but just out of habit, I'm going to lay down some Xandra Dust for a foundation. I'll probably have to do that, so I'm going to test that one skull first. I'm going to get that little skull and his little hair and everything done first, and then I'll probably do that with any other skulls and bones I find. Okay. No, I can definitely do that for you, bud. Alright. What do I want to do? I need to go and get this leather built up on this belt. So tomorrow we're back on your blood cauldron. If you get bored. Alright, and I'm just going to start tracing this belt here a little bit. Way it's not just so one-dimensional. Well, looks like we got another skull right here. So that's a zombie head. That looks like a dead horse head. Well, there's a couple of skulls there. Just kind of got stuff going on all over the place here. Is that supposed to be there? I don't know if that is supposed to be there. Where's my knife? No, we'll figure that out here in a minute. Alright. So, since we're testing out that skull here, let's continue on with that here. Is this Ashanti? Nope. Kendall, do you got the Ashanti? And it looks like either Devin or Kendall's got the Ashanti right now, so we're going to have to wait on that one. Alright. I know what we can do. I'm going to add a little bit more of that green tinge here. Start feathering in some of this green here. Might look a little weird here at first, but believe me, there is a method to my madness. Give that a second to dry. Like a bone right down in here. Where are we at? 9:30. Just starting to get some of these bones ready to go. Alright, let's make him look like he's kind of sickly here. Give a source to this green tinge. Then we'll go back, we'll rot out his teeth and everything like that. But, unfortunately though, I am going to have to call it a night here in a second, because I have other obligations I have to meet for the night. So we're going to leave him off there for now. Well, I hope that goes well for you, man. Good luck with that. This is where we're going to leave off here for tonight. Tomorrow is our Big Bad Saturdays, of course, starting at 10 a.m. where we're going to be working on our blood cauldron that we got sitting here. That would be this guy. This is where we currently are for the blood cauldron itself. You too, man. And then we also got our top piece here for the blood cauldron. So if you're bored, you got time, come hang out with us. We'll be streaming for most of the day. Usually we do some type of giveaways, stuff like that on our Saturdays. So, till then, guys, have a good night. Get some sleep. I'll see you tomorrow. No problem, dude. That's what I'm here for.